Welcome to another episode of Love Vocals Nation. Another week, another exciting podcast. So get ready to get transported to another dimension of music. Hi, Antonia. How are you doing today?
I am good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you. So how was your day so far?
Busy. I'm still trying to cover up the scratch on my face from my chicken run the other day.
Chicken run?
Yeah. One of my chickens got out and I had to try and it pulled me into like this nasty sort of bushed area. So
okay. That sounds crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I just came back from Holland myself. Just amazing weather, colorful tulips everywhere. So yeah, it was just really, really nice.
Yeah, I'm going to Holland on Saturday. That's
wow.
Holland, Michigan.
Okay, what's going on there?
Tulip Festival, basically.
Oh, so, yeah. That sounds amazing. Yeah, super exciting.
Yep.
Right. So our guest today is a powerhouse vocalist, songwriter whose electrifying beats and heartwarming, wrenching lyrics has captured the hearts of EDM and fans worldwide. Mm-hmm. She has collaborated with some of the biggest names in the industry, performed on some of the world's biggest stages, and continues to push the boundaries of what's possible in the electronic music. With the voice of a Gaelic angel, please welcome the one and only Audrey Gallagher.
Yay! Hi, lovely to see both of you after such a long time.
It's been a long time.
It's so cool to see you.
Oh, how are you doing today, Audrey?
Good. Yeah, good. Another day.
Another day, another dollar.
Well, not so many dollars, but another day.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on the show with us.
No problem. Thanks for asking.
So let me kick off. I noticed that recently you released a video of you doing some of your acoustic versions, some of your most popular tracks. Can you share what inspired you to do that?
I think because the basis of everything that I've done, from being in a band to being a songwriter, has always kind of evolved from the acoustic format. It starts, it sounds nothing like what the full trance version ends up sounding like. So I always like to strip things back, and it's a good way of testing if a song works as a song, that it can stand on its own. And anytime I've done things acoustically, people had responded really well. So Neil, my partner, we run the studio here at Manor Park, he was the guitar player in my previous band as well.
Oh wow!
We give it a go. We've written so many songs together, so it was nice to strip it back down. And it is a lovely sense of connecting with a song outside of the beats and the tricks and the all the wizardry that goes on. A song is a song is a song, and it should be able to stand by itself. So I just wanted to explore that.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
How did you feel? How did you feel when you were doing that and you finished that, creating all of that acoustic stuff?
It's going back to, it's as vocalists in dance music, we don't often get the chance to perform.
Right.
We record songs in the studio, and that's kind of where it ends in terms of your performance. So it was really nice just to go in and sing with a guitar for fun more than anything else. Not to be recording something, or not because it was a collaboration or a deadline or someone was waiting to hear it. It was more just, let's do this for a bit of crack, and that's what it was. Yeah.
That's brilliant. And did your fans receive it well? Did they enjoy it?
They seem to really, really like it. It's like everything, you don't know until you put something out there.
Right.
You know, you hope that people relate to it, and it's great when they do. For some people, it's the first time they've heard anything like that from me, so that's always a nice thing to add to what you already do.
Yeah.
I'm a songwriter and a singer first and foremost.
Right.
And always nice to do.
Yeah, you had a beautiful voice. You have amazing hits. One of my favorites is, the one that you made with my brother. I think my brother, didn't he remix you?
Yeah, that was Take It All Away.
Yeah. Oh my God, your voice there. I was like, woo. have goosebumps immediately.
That
It's so
music
good.
was so good. What Marcus captured in that was,
Yeah, you
it's
should you should collaborate again.
I know, we
Just
talked about
putting it out
loads.
there.
Yeah, Marcus, fancy hooking up. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we talked about it before, but it's one of those things that just gets lost in the ether and
Yeah, yeah.
different things. But yeah, I was blown away by that because it was such a different take on the original, and it's one of those songs where I feel what Marcus did to that track is better than the original. It put a whole different slant on it. And it was
Yeah.
so sunny and beachy and kind of chilled and
Yeah, and your
No.
voice is just like pushed out there. So it's really like the main focus in the song. I love it.
Loved it.
Yeah. So Audrey, like the last time I saw you was actually in Budapest. We had a really good time.
Yeah,
You, me, and Orla Feeney.
that's
Good
right.
time
Yeah.
many years ago. Was it maybe, I don't know, 13 years ago or something?
It could be. I don't know. It's not
Yeah.
that I remember it very, very well.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good time.
I wasn't well. I was quite ill.
I remember, yeah, yeah. But you pulled through. You had a big
Yeah.
concert, didn't you? Yeah,
I had some spicy Hungarian soup and that kind of revived
that
me.
helped a lot. Yeah. And I remember, I mean, you talked about your story back then a little bit. And I know that, or my understanding is like your musical journey actually began in a rock band.
Yeah.
If you could take us back to those early days and share how you got started in music and what drew you to rock.
Okay. I always was interested in music and I always sang, and my mother was a phenomenal singer and she
Oh, wow.
taught me songs as a child. So it was always there. My grandfather was a fiddle player. There was always music in the house, mainly country music, traditional Irish music. And then my two brothers who were Iron Maiden, AC/DC, Saxon, Whitesnake, you name it.
Wow.
So it was the house that there was fights over the record player, you know, who got to play what. And
Yeah.
I just remember I wanted to be in a band. I'd been writing songs, but had no kind of vision of what kind of band it was going to be. And at university, there was a notice on a notice board, singer wanted for a band, and to meet in this particular part of the university campus. I rocked up and met Peter Fleming and Neil Calderwood, who I mentioned earlier, who's my producer, and we run the studio together. So went to a cowshed in Mahara.
Cowshed.
It was literally a cowshed. And we had, this was for a rehearsal for what, I have no idea. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, we all clicked really well. We just kind of gelled. They had a few songs already that they needed vocals written for, so that's where it started. We ended up practicing a lot in that cowshed. We were one of the hardest working bands in Ireland at the time.
Wow.
Wow.
We had 2 gigs a day. We wwere doing lunchtime gigs in UCD.
Wow.
And we were in a rusty old van that you needed to hit the engine with a hammer to get it started. So that's what we did, and we were very, very lucky. We were spotted by, it was Mother Records at the time, which was U2's label.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
I think we left a demo in one of their cars in the car.
That's amazing.
But then Paul McGuinness came to see us, their manager came to see us play a gig in Whelan's, and it was, he left like after about a minute and a half, and we were so bad. I would have left. I literally would have walked out. But we ended up releasing some records on Sun Records, Mother Records, and then we were lucky enough to sign to 4AD, which was phenomenal. I was a huge Cocktail Twins fan, huge Elizabeth Fraser fan, so that kind of felt like a coming home.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they put us on tour in America for 6 weeks, playing places like the Fillmore in San Francisco. We played in the Whiskey.
Wow.
We played with like huge bands at the time. We played with Bush at the time, Gavin Rossdale, and we played with Korn. We headline toured with Placebo. So it was just really, really good fun. It was in the days when record companies actually paid for your studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember those days?
Those days.
That was a long time ago.
So we actually toured studios to find where we were going to be comfortable recording. So we went in Peter Gabriel's studio, and then we chose Rockfield, which is a hugely famous studio where we were recording our album in the room where Queen recorded Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
It was so iconic. As we were arriving, Julian Lennon was leaving.
No way.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Incredible.
Stone Roses recorded there, Oasis recorded there. We worked with Cliff Norell, who has worked with everyone from Aerosmith to, he was the engineer on Jeff Buckley's Grace album.
Oh my goodness.
We just hit at a really, really good time. Unfortunately, we didn't get back to America. It was the kind of thing that we were on the wrong label. 485 really didn't get us at all because we were rock band.
Wow.
Yeah.
The we had was the Pixies at that time.
Oh, wow.
It was all very
Wow.
amicable, and we left 480, but they gave us our album to take with us, which was so cool. They were a very, very cool label, and I'm very grateful for all the opportunities we got when we were doing it. We were like living the rock and roll dream.
Yeah. Rock and roll.
That's such a great story.
Love it.
It's a great story.
So, what happened with the band then? Is it still, happening or?
Funny you used to say that. Well, things come to a natural end. We didn't have a contract anymore. Everybody had Neil wanted to go into production. He wanted to, because he'd been so inspired by the producers that we worked with. Howard Billabong, he did all PJ Harvey stuff as well. We worked with him on the first album. So he really, really wanted to get into production. Peter, who was the bass player, wanted to get into publishing. So everybody had a thing. Paddy, guitar player, had a very young family at the time. And it was one of those situations where I need to go to work to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Paying it. So it kind of just faded out. Again, everyone on great terms, but just lately, Neil and myself have started writing again.
Oh, wow.
We have a couple of songs that we're working on at the minute that are quite
exciting.
So again, it's just really good fun to go back and do stuff like that where there's no pressure.
Yeah.
Maybe talk to the boys and see if they want to come in, rehearse, maybe record, see what happens. For fun more than anything else, But
wow.
Never say never.
Exactly. Never say never. I'm super impressed. So I'm actually wondering, so what's the difference then? Like being a solo vocalist in the EDM music industry compared to actually performing in a rock band, like how is that different?
Oh, it's so different because everything in the band is live.
Yeah.
So, when a guitar string breaks, it breaks. When, a drumstick breaks, it breaks. And it breaks there and then, when you're this little unit. You work together, you travel together, you do everything together, you fight, great fun. You're like a little family. So it's so different. You feed off each other. People start going off into little solos and riffs depending on the vibe of the gig. So it's very much a very organic life happening right there and then. And it's never the same again. Dance music isn't like that.
So which do you prefer then?
For me, nothing will ever beat being on stage with a band. I'd love to take, that's something I'd love to do is take my electronic music live.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And do that and have guitars involved and have.
Oh, yes.
I think this is the way forward. Yeah.
Definitely. There's definitely an opening for it, but it's not a cheap thing to do. It's an expensive thing to do. You can't. It's very different. A vocalist going and performing 3 songs without trailing a guitar player, bass player, cello player, keyboard player, and all of that.
Yeah.
But they used to do it all the time. So what's really changed?
I have no idea.
And it was funny because I won't mention any names, but we were interviewing someone just recently, and they said, "Oh yeah, well we can't we can't take vocalists with us because it's too expensive. And I was like,
Really?
what? And I just wonder if, and forgive me, promoters out there, but I wonder if they just get used to making money, or maybe they should be asking for more.
I don't know. Maybe DJs are just getting paid phenomenal amounts of money that there's none left. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard. Live vocals are very difficult, I think, because if it's in the middle of a set, and Linnea, you're a DJ, so you know that you're building your set, you're building your set. Do you really want a vocalist to come in and kind of drop that?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Bring it on.
We need to do this.
I don't think a lot of DJs want that, because it kind of interferes with, it's their show. So it kind of interferes with the run of their show. I don't know. I don't know what goes on in their heads from that point of view, but I don't think vocalists are expensive in terms of.
I don't think so either. And I actually, and I don't mind saying this, I just thought it was very bullshitty, quite frankly, when I heard it. And
words.
Yes, it was bullshitty. And I thought, I will say this. The DJs, we love you, but unfortunately, if without our top lines and such, there would be they'd just be playing backing tracks, right? Now, so I'm not diminishing the backing track, but wouldn't it be lovely to say, hey, you know what? This track, this was a collaboration I did with a phenomenal vocalist. Here's the vocalist. And I've been in that position before. I think it was the Flash Brothers I was doing a track with. And I got up there, the fans went nuts.
Yeah, they do love it. They love it.
They went nuts. And I just think it's more of it.
Yeah, but you do need to put things in place. I mean, I've done gigs which have been horrendous, where you're just literally handed.
Yeah, that happens all the
microphone.
time. Here's a mic. There you go.
It's been down some rock and rollers trousers, like half an hour before. If that has happened. So it needs to be well prepped. It needs to be well presented. You need good monitor engineers. You need good sound.
Yeah.
And that is probably where the expense comes in, when you need to hire additional equipment and additional people to make it sound, because girls, if it sounds crap, no one blames the setup.
No, they blame you. And it's true.
They blame you.
But that's entertainment. Sorry for being cheesy. And I genuinely believe, and I'm saying this to everyone who's listening, advocate for vocalists getting up there on stage, and more of it, please.
That's how you truly connect with songs that you love as an audience.
Right.
Remember that someone who has written and sang something, if they're standing singing it to you, then it has a huge impact. I've seen it where I've made grown men cry.
Yeah.
I bet you have.
And you mean you have the voice for making people cry, so.
But it's a very different experience when you hear it live, as long as it's done properly.
Yeah.
No half-assing it.
But I just thought off the top of my head there, so have an event where everything is all set up, it's all ready to go, and then you can have multiple vocalists there.
Armada have done that in the past. They have done that, and it worked really, really well. It was great. Jaron was there. I can't remember off the top of my head. Well, Susanna was there. So that that's taken a whole part of the night that's dedicated to live vocals. So obviously they had put the investment into making sure that was set up right, and it was.
I think that's great.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal. It was such a good idea. And there should be vocal tents, vocal stages.
I know. Yes,
that's a great idea. I love that.
Yeah,
I would go for that.
Yes, we need to have a vision board with all that on it.
You started your music journey in rock. So what's your favorite rock band then?
It changes, it's like everything, depending on who I'm listening to at the minute. I will always be a hardcore AC/DC fan.
Really? AC/DC?
They're so cool.
It's really simple. No one has any idea how hard it is to drum the way that Phil Rudd drums. It's so simple, But to do that is so difficult. There's no overcomplication of anything. But right now it's Tremonti, hands down. Absolutely love Tremonti. But yeah, AC/DC always comes back to. I love Monster Truck. There's so many great rock bands out there.
Yeah,
And it's a formula that doesn't need to change.
yeah.
Feel good driving music, riding your bike music, just hardcore. Yeah.
Yeah, love it. All right, so I would say the band didn't split, but it's just like took a break from it, a really long break. Then let's say it like that. Yeah. So what happened then after?
Well, after Neil and myself continued to write together, and we had a little project that we called Lima, and we were kind of. It was our first foray because we had no musicians. There was just us, and Neil's a guitar player, and I don't play anything. I play guitar badly and piano badly. So he started messing about with electronic sounds, that kind of thing. We actually, I don't know how we wangled a gig in New York somewhere.
Wow.
And we had an acoustic. We had a gig in Chennai, which is in New York, which is this iconic.
Wow.
Incredible.
We played there, and then we started sending out demos to recorded 3 or 4 songs, just local radio. And I think Anelia Nelson heard one of the tracks on local radio and approached me to see if I wanted to write something with them. No idea who they were.
Oh, wow.
Legends, like complete legends. So yeah, I went down. They had a little recording studio about half a mile away. I went down. I had my little 4-track DAT machine, mini loops that I recorded on, and yeah, we wrote "Holding On to Nothing." And
wow, love that track.
That's wild.
Never done anything in dance music ever before, and that just went
ballistic.
People absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But it was just not even a side hustle, but that kind of thing. As always, I just like writing songs. So yeah, I'll give it a go. See what happens. And then they were friends with John Callahan, and John heard the song, and then John contacted me to, did I want to do anything? And I was like, yeah, why not? Give it a go.
Yeah.
And then, so that was Big Sky, and then the rest is just history. After that,
that is such a major tune.
It is a major tune.
But
Wow.
You don't know that at the you've no idea when you're writing a song what it's going to do. If anything, the only thing I can do is concentrate at the time of writing the best song that I can. After that, it's nothing to do with me anymore. It's like
Yeah.
It's interesting you should say that, because that's another reason why vocalists should be doing more live work, because there's nothing like you finish a track, all that effort goes into it, off it goes to record label, off it goes, out it goes, fans buy it, and that's it, and then you're on to the next one. And I find that really sad.
It is sad. It is, because you never get to experience what the producer gets to experience.
Right.
Yeah.
You never get that. Most vocalists don't. There are always, there are those vocalists out there who do really well live and tour, and it's fantastic to see. But for the majority, no, you never get to see that firsthand. When a DJ is standing with 2 arms in the air, lapping it all up,
Yeah.
you're at home in your PJs.
Right.
That's very true.
Reading a book.
I was recently in my PJs watching Ultra, and one of my songs were playing, and I was like, having a little tear. I was like, I should be there, Yeah. Where's my invite?
Paul Denton sent me the video of him. I can't remember. Was it Luminosity? The first time he came back, and the whole place was just. He played Beneath the Stars, and the whole place erupted. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
And you want to be there, and because it's like a sense of achievement as well,
But,
Absolutely.
It's not fair, guys. Just saying.
Just saying.
Anyway, well, I was going to ask a couple of questions, but you've actually already answered them. So I'm just going to jump on to kind of asking you about what's it like to collaborate with some of the biggest names in the EDM scene. What's that like for you?
I've been very lucky. The people that I've worked with that have been very respectful in terms of my knowledge. I have come up through, I have been in recording studios, I've worked with great producers, I've written albums, I've toured. So I'm coming from a place where I do know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
When it comes to a lot of things. So I think in the initial times, people maybe tried to be producers, maybe tried to be a little dismissive, not out of any bad motive, but because they didn't understand that I understood the process.
Right.
Once I was able to explain, I do know how this works. I do know about compression. I do know about distortion. I do know how I want my voice to sound.
Right.
And I do want it to sound like that. And I was able to, and I'm very lucky that I have Neil, who's an amazing producer. So I'm able to go in and say, well, no, I need it to sound like this. I need it to sound like that. And I've been very lucky. They've all been hugely respectful from Armin through, to Everett, from John O'Callaghan and Yelly Nelson at the start. Tidy is an immense person to work with because he just recognizes that I'm a musician as well. So yeah, I think when you start, and I'm lucky because I had no idea. I mean, when Big Sky came out and it was Tune of the Year, I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea who Armin van Buuren was. I had no idea what a
Wow.
What a surprise.
That's amazing.
So it didn't, none of it meant anything to me. So when people come back and wanted to work with me and we're talking about collaborations, I had nothing to pitch it against in terms of I didn't know who was big and who wasn't.
Right.
I didn't know who was number one DJ and a number 1,001 DJ. If I got sent a track that I really liked, then that was the basis for working on it or not working on it.
Right.
It didn't matter who it came from. If it was a track from a big artist that I didn't like, I wasn't going to work on it just for the sake of working with that person. Yeah. And then the terms that they were offering as well, that made a big difference to what I wanted to work on, because I grew along the process of that is the kind of stuff that needs put out immediately before you start a project. And that took a long time for me to get my head around, because getting caught up in that, I just want to write a song. Yeah, I just want to write a song. I'm happy to write a song. I'm happy to write a song. But you step back and you only learn that over time and say, well, no, but it has to be on mutually agreed terms and it has to benefit both parties. So that's been a learning curve, but that's the nature of the beast.
I love that.
So I really want to share with you ladies something that really drives me nuts, right?
Okay.
So sometimes I get people to reach out to me saying, you have to give me a vocal or do a vocal on this. So it's just to give you an example, right? And why does it drive me nuts? Well, because it feels like more of a demand rather than a request, right? Of working together. So they assume that they can get a vocal on demand for free, and they're not thinking about what it takes to create a vocal, and if I'm even, interested in wanting to collaborate, or if I even have the time for it. So I really don't like to get approached that way, because writing vocals is actually my craft and my job, So Audrey, I'm interested to hear your thoughts around this experience on this kind of topic.
That's awful that people are approaching you like that. I've had that a few times, but I just ignore that. I just delete. It used to be when as artists got bigger that were asking me for collaborations, it always came from their management. And I found it quite difficult because I like to deal with the person that I'm actually going to be working with rather than I've had lawyers.
Third
things
party,
go through
yeah.
lawyers and things go through managers, and it's like, could I talk to the person who wants to collaborate and find out this, what the idea is, or what, what we want to achieve in this, or what the kind of direction is? That bugged me for ages.
Yeah.
Just talk to me. Don't talk to me. Don't go through your manager. I understand people are busy and all the rest of it, but we all have, things to do, and things that we have to get involved with. But that was the one bugbear of mine was that just talk to me directly.
Yeah.
So now I'm on the flip side of it, because then I'm rubbish at business. I'm rubbish at the business side of things. I hate discussing money and I hate discussing splits, and I'm
Yeah.
much better than I used to be, because girls, that like we have to put a value on the work that we do.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no way around that. But at the beginning, I was very uncomfortable talking about that. So I
Yeah.
work with Dan at Evolved Artists now, and
Yeah.
have Dan handles that. So people will approach me about collaborations and send me a track. If it's something that I'm interested in working on,
Mm.
I'll point them in the direction of Dan,
Mhm.
and really like the track, love to work on it. Please contact Dan to discuss fees, blah blah, splits, blah blah blah. So they know from the outset that that's the thing, that there will be.
I
a
love
fee,
that.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, so that way I don't have to deal with the actual fee negotiation, which I hate. So that's Dan's job, and that's what he does. So if they don't want to pay, sorry, that's just not how I operate anymore. I've done it too many times in the past, and
Yep.
and like, it is a craft. It takes a very long time, to write. To get you're good because you can record your own vocals. You're very talented, and Neil does everything here. I record. We have our own residential studio that's
Nice.
a fully commercial studio, but Neil records my vocals. I couldn't afford to go in to that studio and pay for that recording myself if I wasn't getting a fee.
Right.
Yeah.
Neil's working. Why should he not get paid to do the production?
Yeah.
That is top drawer production. You're getting a fully finished vocal, fully finished product.
Yeah.
And if you think that it's that easy, that I'll just go in here for 5 minutes, write this, I'll record it.
Right.
But thankfully it doesn't. It really doesn't happen to me that much. I think it's probably something that a lot of newer vocalists in the scene will come up against.
Up against.
Mm.
Yeah.
Definitely, where you'll get but it'll be great exposure. Or
Oh, I hate that
the
one.
classic.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
like-
my God, it's a classic.
do you say in response to that, yeah, great exposure for you?
Yeah, well, that's it. But it doesn't pay my bills. It doesn't.
It
Right.
would be a really great drinking game, Every time you hear it, take a sip.
So every
Yes.
time a word is mentioned, you have to take a slug.
Exactly. I would be very drunk by now.
I think there can be kind of compromises where, instead of a one-off fee, you have a gig, for example, and the money
Right.
that you can pay for the gig could be considered.
Oh, I like that idea.
So if it's an artist that is touring and is gigging quite a lot, and you go, okay, well, maybe look at not an upfront fee. And when you're talking in terms of exposure, but if you can give me a gig in front of 3,000 people, that might actually even it out a little bit. So there are kind of ways that you can do it. But
I like that. I never thought of that idea before. That's neat.
Very good.
I have a big wisdom hat.
I need one of those hats.
I've been doing this for such a long time that, these are ideas that come to you as you go along. It's hard for up and coming producers to do that, to be in that position where they're able to pay for a vocalist. But I think as vocalists you need to have, even if it is a nominal fee.
Right.
If you're a new vocalist and a new producer, I think there needs to be a nominal fee that says, I value.
I love that. I love that.
It's not going to have to be a big amount, but it's the idea that, no, this is my work. You don't go into the hairdressers, get your hair cut, walk out and go, thanks for the lovely haircut."
Absolutely.
Walk around
Agree.
and tell everybody how brilliant a hairdresser you are for the exposure. You know,
Yeah.
it is that simple. And if you're treating it as your job, then you get paid to do your job. And I've had producers on the flip side say, well, I don't get paid, you know, and I've made the track. And yeah, you're going out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday and gigging it.
Right.
And you get paid to do that.
Yeah.
So you are getting paid if you're, you know, producers at that level where you're constantly gigging.
Yeah.
You're getting paid. But I think it's everybody does it at the start. You do it for nothing and you do it first.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the door and all the rest of it. But there has to come a time when you value your work. It is that simple.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
everybody hear that from Audrey Gallagher's mouth. You have to value your work.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely. So just to go back then, so what I hear is if somebody's approaching you like, just give me a vocal, your tip is ignore.
Slide on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not happening.
And the way that you would like to be approached to get a collab is don't go through the management, go straight to Audrey, and then you sort
I will point
the
you.
rest.
Yeah.
Yes.
point you in the direction
I love
where-
that. I think that's
Take me first.
what words of wisdom that is.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
This bold, wise head.
Can I ask you, you know, you use the phrase nominal fee. I'm not saying that what you're going to say is absolute, but what might you suggest to young vocalists out there listening?
That's really difficult. I'm not comfortable giving a number.
Okay.
in the sense
Yeah.
that It could be, you know, it could be anything. It could be £100. It could be, you know, but you want more splits. You want, you know, there's a lot of work to be done around that. There's a lot of other negotiations
Right.
that you can be doing. But if you work out the time, so what people work, they charge, they get paid by the hour, they get paid by the shift,
Right.
they get paid by the session. So maybe log your hours, look at what you want as an hourly rate to do the job and charge that. Because
Mhm.
that, you know, that's how it works in every other job. And if you are approaching it as your job, then charge what you think your hourly rate is worth and add that up. It could come to quite a bit, could come to not an awful lot, but I think it's more the getting it out there that this stuff isn't free.
But I think also that's a brilliant way to send a very strong message out that I am valuable.
Mhm.
This craft is valuable.
Mm.
And if we're not valuing ourselves, then others are not going to value us. So
That's a really difficult thing because I know how easy it is and everybody wants to get a leg up and everybody wants to get a start and everybody
Mhm.
wants
sure.
to get in. So it's very easy and I've done it, you know, I've
Sure.
done it.
And me too.
You say, like
Mhm.
we all do. And you say, okay, I'll do it, you know, I'll do it for free. But then that word goes around that she'll do your vocal for free, he'll do your vocal for free. They don't.
Yep.
charge, they
Yeah,
charge
That's very
them.
true.
And then you're in a hole that you can never dig out, dig your way out of. And then you're going, well, she'll do it for nothing. Why won't you do it for nothing? And I just got to the point where going, well, then go and do it with whoever's doing it for free, because I'm not.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm.
So it is a hard thing, but you're right, Antonia, we have to value ourselves.
Mhm.
That's really important for vocalists to
Yep.
make that step and say, it doesn't matter how far into your journey, your career that you are, you have to make it now the time to say, I'm setting out my stall and this is how I'm going to do it.
Right.
And I think people will respect that in the long run.
Yeah,
I agree. I
I
agree.
agree also.
So I'd love to hear everyone that's listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And you can send it in to us at Antonia at LoveVocalsNation.com or Linnea at LoveVocalsNation.com. We'd love to hear from you on that.
Yeah.
And just to jump in, something that I read, and I just wanted to share it with you, Audrey, and also with everyone out there. Collaboration is like baking a cake. Just as a cake requires various ingredients and careful preparation to achieve the desired taste and texture, a collaboration involves multiple individuals with unique skills and contributions. So asking for a vocal without considering the time and effort required to create it is like demanding a slice of cake without acknowledging the ingredients or baking process. It diminishes the value of the vocalist's work and overlooks the dedication and expertise required to produce high quality vocals. So asking for a vocal on demand for free is akin to expecting a delicious cake without paying for it, without proper ingredients and baking. A collaboration cannot succeed without mutual respect and consideration for each other's skills and contributions.
Perfect.
We love that.
So sharing
that.
sharing that with everyone who's willing to listen to that. And that's kind of the essence, the essence of where we're going with this podcast. We want to change standards for vocalists in the music industry.
So Audrey, we spoke a little bit about Big Sky, right? That is such a classic now. You worked together with John O'Callaghan. The song was voted Tune of the Year by a State of Trance listeners, and the track has gone to receive an Irish Dance Music Awards nomination,
Yay.
along with an International Dance Music Award nomination as well for Best Trance Single. I mean,
wow.
I'd totally forgotten about that.
Yeah,
you?
so that's incredible.
I forget that.
No, I forgot it.
Well, I'm here to remind you. It's a classic,
Nice one,
right?
Linnea.
I love it. And
it.
how was that experience for you? I mean, you must be shocked then, because you mentioned that, you didn't really know what was going on. And yeah.
No, not a clue. So I think it was John. John messaged me about it's Tune of the Year in the State of Trance. I'm like, what's that mean?
Yeah.
What's that? John's so gracious, and John was a really easy process, but John will be the first person to tell you that it took forever, because I'm a pretty slow songwriter. So I think from he sent me the kind of sequence of where it was going to go, I think it was about 6 months before it was finished.
Wow.
And that
It
was
happens.
completely on my end of things, because I can get quite. You'll know from writing songs that it's almost like you don't want to finish it, because when you finish it, you have to hand it over. And then you have to
That's so true.
You hope they like it.
Keeping your baby at home.
Yeah.
As long as you can. So there was that little bit of hesitancy in sending it out, but it was a great feeling to know that it had been received as well as it had, because you don't know when you write a song what it's going to be. I've gone through this. A girl that I know, she's an artist, she's a painter, and she recently started very small, getting paintings into exhibits. And she had one, and she posted it on her Facebook, and a woman phoned from Australia to say that it was an old derelict house that she painted before it was demolished. And a woman in Australia phoned and said, "That's my home place."
Oh no, how lovely.
Wow.
And she said to me, it's not even very good. I don't know why she likes it. And it got me thinking about it's the same with songs. It's like, it's not what you put it out there. It's
Right,
what
yeah.
someone else connects to.
Yeah.
It's how they interpreted it. It's not about you, or even your creation of it or what you feel about it. It is absolutely how other people feel about it. And I still don't know why Big Sky connected on the level that it did. It was just that moment in time. It just
It's
did.
such a catchy song, It's a big sky. I'm like, oh my God. I still play it sometimes, I do have gigs here in Ireland now and then, and when in Ireland you have to be like, Audrey Gallagher, So I always play it, or not always, but many times I do. And people still go nuts to it. It's such a classic. I think it's going to be with you until the day you eventually are not on this earth anymore.
Yeah, I think so. And that's That's great. That is so cool. So many people have sent me their tattoos. You know,
Oh yeah, people got tattoos. Oh my god.
That's amazing. That is
so many tattoos that they have, and saying that it helped them at a particular
Oh my god, yeah.
of their life. And the thing about it is, it's not a traditional song in the sense where this is a story.
Mm.
Much more, and when I was writing it, it's much more of a feeling than
Yeah.
it is a tale that you're telling. So everyone had their own interpretation of
Mhm.
what it means. And even for me, I'm not sure what it means. You know, I'm really not sure. It means different things at different times.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why it resonates. It's not a song telling you about a certain thing. You know, it's a song that is about a certain sense of being.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe why it resonated with people.
Yeah.
But I'm super proud of it. You know,
That's amazing.
You should be proud of it. I mean, your voice is incredible. It's such a catchy song.
Yeah.
A classic, a forever classic, in my opinion.
John O'Callaghan for trusting me with it and giving me the opportunity to do it, because that did so much for both of us. You know.
Yeah,
It
absolutely. Yeah.
had a massive impact on his trajectory. You know, so yeah, it's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that's one of his biggest songs ever, also.
I
So,
think so. But it,
yeah.
it did help. It did help launch him, and he'd be the first to admit that. You know, that
Yeah.
was a turning point in his career, and it led me on to working with Armin and all the rest of it that followed. You
Incredible. Yeah. Amazing. Well deserved.
know, I'm very grateful for it. Very
Yeah.
grateful.
Great. So going back to Armin a little bit, I know you performed on Armin Only tour in front of thousands of people. So how was that experience for you?
In all honesty,
Mm.
I'd love to say it was fantastic, but it was terrifying.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a great experience for me in the sense that it wasn't even the size of the venue or the crowd.
Mm.
It goes back to needing vocalists setup being right in order
Yeah.
for things to work. And it does, you know, and that was an awful night, and the abuse I got on, you know, messages and YouTube and blah 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 about how bad I was live and how
Jesus.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I was in tears for about a week.
Oh my goodness.
But there was a lot of people. It's what I was saying earlier. When things don't sound right, people blame you.
Right.
How it was set up, and what people don't know about that night is that I was to come on and sing Big Sky a cappella. So
Mhm.
there was no music.
Yeah.
I had no lead note in my ear as to what key this song started in.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness.
Nothing. So I had to guess essentially what
Right.
the song was in. And obviously it wasn't the right one.
Oh, Audrey.
No.
Oh my goodness.
You know, and that's in front of 20,000 people.
Nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah, it was horrendous. It was what, you know, should have been a great experience. But I was, and I'd had experience of being on stage, but it was the first time using in-ear monitors as well. So I had no idea what kind of levels I needed, what kind of, you know, there wasn't an awful lot of rehearsal time. So it was kind of like a rabbit in the headlights.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that it was anybody's fault. I should have been firmer in asking setting out what I needed, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
When it comes back to me, but that's again something that you learn with experience.
Right.
I always use stage monitors, you know, anytime I performed live. So no idea what was going on, but I'll never forget. I was so upset. And
Yeah.
Oh, Audrey.
Armin phoned me, and he was going. I was saying, but it's awful the things that people are saying, and he said, look, Audrey, if I took all the things that people say about me online seriously, I'd never leave the house.
Yeah.
Good piece
He's right
of
about that.
advice. That was nice.
Absolutely.
So he said, ignore it. Said it won't stop us working with you. It won't stop. You know, yeah, it happened, but things happened. But don't read that stuff. Don't go online. Let it go. And,
And move
Yeah,
on.
absolutely.
he was so gracious, and yeah, what I was getting, I'm sure, was nothing compared to what he gets. So,
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a similar experience, not with singing overall, but DJing. One of my bigger gigs on Luminosity, for example. There was something wrong with the DJ DAX. It couldn't read, first of all, my USB. So that was like just a panic attack. And then like the sound was just not working with me at all. So I couldn't hear really what was going on. And I basically had to blindfoldingly, like just mix and see what happens.
Wow.
And I've never been sweating so much in my life.
and you can't read.
I think it sounded horrific. And it was like one of those like, and so many like go in and listen to that and you're like, oh my God. But you know what? I think we all have those moments, at least people know it's live, and technical things can happen.
That's true, but I think I'm sure when I was in the band, we had plenty of like awful gigs. But the thing about it was in that room that one time, that night. It didn't be on the internet forever.
Yeah.
Right? It's like
Right.
totally different environment now. If you mess up once, you will never be let forget about it. It will be
Jesus, yeah.
Become a meme.
yeah.
Let me share one of my ridiculous was. So I had a 28-day PA tour, and I was doing two shows back to back every night, and so it was in and out of clubs, right? So we get into this club, and they start playing the track, but only the DJs got it on the wrong speed.
Oh,
No way.
And it was, I don't even know what BPM it was, but it was ridiculous. And I was,
Did you do it?
no.
I had to do it.
Oh my God.
But in hindsight, if I had known what I know now, I would have gone, stop.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, you just get on with it and you do it.
Yeah.
And you're dying inside.
Yeah, you're dying, like
I was
slowly dying
mortified.
inside. Yeah.
I was so embarrassed.
That goes to show that, you're not alone with things happening on stage. It happens to the very best ones as well. I mean, I've been on big concerts with huge artists and they had issues as well. So, it happens. And as I said, at least people know it's live, Yeah.
That's why I've got very particular about the equipment that I use for live performances now.
Care to share?
Well, I have my own vocal processor. I have my own microphone. I insist on either depending on the setup. So I have a CD mix, which our lovely Orla would often put together for me off track. So I'll either have a separate mixer, separate DJs, and go through that and through the vocal processor and out. Or if I'm lucky enough and there's a monitor desk and do that with my in-ears. And it means that with the vocal processor, it sounds exactly the same no matter where I am. That's
great. I know Jess is doing something similar, yeah.
Yeah, because I perform with Jess. She has her whole setup.
Yeah.
We went together, so she has her own setup. So I like the TC Helicon voice line, which is a great little piece of kit. It's not expensive. It's easy to carry, and it's kind of plug in and play. So you know where you are with it. So then if I mess up, down to me,
Right.
And it just had happened too many times. Like I say, at a gig where somebody just hands you a mic and battered old, God knows what, just try to preempt it as much as possible. So it's not that difficult to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So what mic are you performing with then?
I use the TC Helicon mic.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Yep.
Yeah, but it's a leaded mic, so it's not wireless, unfortunately. But you can control the effects from the mic itself. So it's quite but otherwise I'll use like an SM58 wireless. I'm using Rode mics in the studio to record. But yeah, I like the TC Helicon setup just because it's very, very simple. And I kind of like a leaded mic takes me back to being in a band because it's kind of like a
prop.
Yeah, it's like I can twiddle the wire and kind of hang on to it. But I got a huge extension cable for it so that I can kind of.
You can just walk around. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I do quite like that. It is a kind of a hark back to my rock and roll days before wireless mics were a thing.
I think that sounds awesome. So, you know, you've been part of the EDM scene now for a while. Are there any tracks that you wish you had written?
Oh God. I think everybody's like Delirium Silence is always going to be up there.
Oh, yes.
It is. Or Summer Sun, or, you know, there's so many. As the Rush Comes, you know, they're just,
yeah,
you know, all the big ones. But yeah, I'm not big into covers and things like that because I'm not really into sort of taking someone else's track and doing it a different way. But nothing I really wished I had written that, but there are so many good songs. So many good songs. So many accomplished writers, you know, across the board. And a lot do come from different backgrounds. And that's what I like about trance in particular. A lot of vocalists are folk singers. They're boys, they're from rock bands, they're from, you know, they're not really trance vocalists in that sense. That's just what they're working in at the moment. That's not where they've come from. So I think that it's really interesting that we've moved away from the featured artist where you got a vocalist to sing on a dance track, but they had no problem writing it. Yeah. So we've come right through now where you've got this mix of genres and mix of experience that I think it's just a whole other animal than it was maybe 20 years ago. And a lot more song-based and a lot more lyrically diverse and lyrically deep than it was. So yeah, so many good songs. You know, what do you wish you'd written?
Oh gosh, again, I'm like you. I have got so many tracks that I don't know. I wish that I'd written them, but I think I would have liked to have been part of the process. You know, I love that. So, is there one thing that your fans might be surprised to find out about you? Any one thing? I'm a mountain bike coach. Yeah, I know I ride bikes, but I'm actually a qualified coach.
Wow.
I teach mountain biking. I coach beginner level and particularly women's mountain biking.
Wow.
We run a program called Women on Wheels Off-Road, Off-Road. So that's kind of my new course.
Wives Off-Road. Wives Off-Road.
Wheels Off-Road. So
Wheels Off-Road.
Okay. Women on Wheels, yeah.
Women on Wheels.
Beginner mountain bikers, and it's great crack. Because so I like a lot of my fans will know that I bike a lot.
Right.
So I just wanted to get more women involved in the sport because I was out there and I never saw any other girls riding bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was now we have a network of about 400 women in Northern Ireland.
Wow, that's impressive.
About 1,000 over the island as a whole.
That's amazing. And you started that idea?
Myself and another girl that I met randomly on a trail one day.
That's brilliant, Audrey.
The woman I'd seen on a bike.
Yeah.
What a great this, you know. So there's a lot more chatting than biking a lot of the time.
We love it though.
It's more a day out. You could ride the trails in an hour, but we're out for like 3.5 hours. So yeah, that's my thing. Yeah, bikes.
So I remember about 11 years ago when you made that decision to start biking. Do you remember that conversation we had? And you were like, "I think I'm going to start riding bikes."
Yeah, I think I'll go start riding bikes. Yeah, and it started on a road bike. It started just riding around
Yeah,
Rome.
yeah.
And then it just got too dangerous, got ridiculously dangerous. Passes the traffic, and
Yeah.
my other half convinced me. He was going like, "Why don't we try mountain bike?" And I'm like, "Are you trying to kill me? See on me or something?" Because previously he'd taken me quad biking and I shattered my shoulder on a quad bike.
Oh my God, you're joking.
It's another one on the litany of injuries. But yeah, and I just became completely hooked. It's more to do with we naturally as humans feel very safe in the forest. We know that the forest, we go back to that place where the forest gave us food, gave us shelter. It's a safe place to be. Spending time in forests on a bike is
just amazing.
Absolutely love it. So yeah, anytime anything that's kind of getting to you, right, and I'm out on my bike and going on my bike. It's stuck with me now, and to be able to pass it on to other people and bring more people into the sport.
That's amazing.
I love it.
So Audrey, if you had to choose one song to describe your life, what song would it be and why?
I don't know if I have one to describe my life, but a song that I always go back to, I think, is Brian Wilson. It's In My Room. And it's that idea of there's a place where I can go and tell my secrets to, in my room. And I've always loved that song, and it's one that I go back to repeatedly. I'm a huge Beach Boys fan. I'm a huge fan.
Oh, I love the Beach Boys.
Yeah. Huge fan of Brian Wilson in particular. The harmony.
Yeah, me too.
The things are just phenomenal. The craft, the production, everything. I became obsessed with Brian Wilson for a long time. So yeah, that's one that I always go back to. I'm sure there's obviously parts of my life in my own songs that come out at a certain time, but your life changes so much day to day that a song today means something in a different song.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's kind of the way I work.
Yeah. Nice.
So if you could switch lives with any other musician for the day, who would it be?
I think I'd like to be Hayley from Paramore for a day.
Her voice is amazing. Yeah.
To bounce around the stage again, with a full band. I love the way she performs. I think she's a phenomenal performer. But yeah, anyone who's touring.
You just want to get out there again.
You just absolutely.
If I could be Angus Young, AC/DC for a day, that would also be phenomenal.
Have you ever met AC/DC? Any members? No.
No.
If you're listening, give Audrey a call.
Yeah, I actually saw their airplane when I was in Stockholm once, and their airplane was there. I was like, oh my God, super cool. And you can see like their logo was on the plane. I was like, hello.
I saw them
super cool. Yeah.
I saw them play live in Dublin, and it was just insane. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, any of those, or any heroes from my youth. I suppose Elizabeth Fraser. But I'd want to have her voice, and I'd want to have her writing ability, and her uniqueness would be phenomenal to have.
Very nice.
Well, you're allowed that because it's.
Yeah.
So, would you rather perform a concert while wearing a giant chicken suit, or write a love song about a person with a face that looked like a chicken?
I'd do the chicken suit. I think I'd do the chicken suit.
I want to see that, Audrey.
I'm going to book you now to a show, and you have to wear that.
I think I'd do the chicken suit. That would be more fun. But I'd give both a go.
I'd give both a go.
Write a song about someone with a face like a chicken, and then wear it in the chicken suit.
I think that's perfect.
Yes, the best combination. All right, I have one for you.
Okay.
Would you rather have finger-sized nipples
What?
or nipple-sized fingers?
I'm just trying to like actually
Process that. Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to visualize it. Size nipples and neither. Thanks.
Yes, okay. Fair enough. All right. All right. So, what's your favorite food?
Oh, steak.
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 How do you like it? How do you like it though?
Medium rare, on the rarer side of medium.
Mm.
Wow, that's good. That's very good.
Guilty pleasure would be like pizza is probably the most awesome food out there, but yeah, steak would be
Mm. What pizza though?
pretty simple. Pepperoni, red onion, and jalapenos.
Sounds good. All right. So if anyone wants to cook for Audrey, it's either steak or pizza.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go. Medium to rare. Medium to rare.
One of our objectives with this podcast is advocating for vocalists and their rights, as well as helping to work safely in the music industry. So if you could change standards for vocalists in the music industry, what changes would you like to make?
I think the first thing, and I think it's something that's overlooked so much, and it's not necessarily a direct answer, but I think that it should be mandatory that DJs submit their set lists to performing rights societies. I think that is the one thing where vocalists could actually get paid for the work that they've done.
Mm.
Back to being in a band, we submitted our set lists.
Right.
That was the way it was done, and that's how you get paid your performance royalties.
Mm.
So, for example, Big Sky could be played with, we've got a very big planet. If it was played 1,000 times in 1 week,
Yeah.
that's revenue that the vocalist doesn't get. The DJ gets revenue for playing the gig,
Yeah.
but the vocalist who wrote the track gets nothing for that. And I think DJs, I always see a lot of people on Twitter going, oh God, I've got a 14-hour stopover, what am I going to do? And I'm thinking, you can upload your set list.
Yeah.
Upload your set
Good
list,
tip.
guys and girls.
I think I have actually said that to a few people. But yeah, I think that would massively change how vocalists are able to operate in terms of buying equipment, to record their own vocals, to book studio time, to, make things, to bring things forward for themselves under their own steam and not relying on anybody else.
Mm.
It's money that's already collected. It's money that's already there, but we can't claim it. It's whoever has played the set list needs to submit that, and I think that would change the industry for vocalists. I think I was one of the first people to change featuring to and. It was one of the things that I insisted on very early on.
Yes.
Yay.
I remember those conversations.
And it is, featuring absolutely fine. If you've had no involvement in writing a song and you just recorded it, featuring is perfectly applicable. But if you have written the melody and you've written the top line, then it's an and. You're an equal partner in the songwriting.
I agree.
So that is something I think that vocalists need to be aware of as well. Maybe newer vocalists going in, you're not a featured artist. You're a songwriter. You've written the melody and you've written the lyric. So you are an and. So it's really hard because the industry is the industry, and it will never, like all industries, it will never have the performer at its key. Profit is profit. Everyone wants to, they run the business for the business side. So but I think there's a lot of things that vocalists can take into their own hands, and that comes with learning as you go, but being open and asking questions. But definitely in terms of payment, my one thing is definitely set list submission. And I know that there was talk a few years ago about Pioneer doing something within the decks,
Mm-hmm.
an algorithm,
Right.
and then automatically pick up tracks that were played, so it would
That would be
automatically.
amazing.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. I'm sure
Mm.
there's an AI program out there that could do
I
something like that.
100% agree with you. There's got to
Yeah.
be technology to be able to do that.
It has to be. But it's not hard for, I mean, I don't know, Linnea, you're a DJ. Is it as simple as you, like, that's the set list I did last night? Because PRS make it quite simple. You just upload it.
Yeah.
So is that something that would be easy for a DJ to do?
It's very easy to do. Yeah, absolutely. It's just people forget to take the time to do that.
I don't think they're aware either.
No, exactly.
So raising the awareness of doing that and the difference that would make, you know, not just to vocalists, but someone who's played cello on the track or guitar on the track, or who's, you know, has had some other part in the process to get what they're due, because the money has been collected. Every business here has a PRS license.
Yep.
They're paying into
Yep.
the system.
And PPL is another one. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
those are tools that, if it was just a regulation and a standard, then that would make a massive difference.
I think
Yeah.
that's another fantastic idea. I'm going to get on that after this show and contact PPL, and maybe they need to get involved in pushing.
Because it's revenue for them as well.
Yeah.
You know, if they're calling in the revenue, they're getting a percentage of that revenue. So it's in everyone's interest to do it.
Yeah, I concur. That's
Absolutely.
brilliant. I love it.
All right. So how the current standards in the music industry affected vocalists like yourself?
I'm out of it to an extent. I think the standards that have been in the industry for years and years have almost pushed me out of it, because I'm getting to the stage in my life where I just really don't want to get involved in that. So I'm tired fighting. I'm tired always having to kind of push to get what I'm feeling entitled to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very different world, because when I started and you were in bands, you had a label and they helped you and they funded things and they financed things and they collected for you. You had a publisher.
Yeah.
It's a different industry. You felt like, so now you give a track to a label. I'm not sure what you get in return.
Well, you don't, apart from getting the odd royalties in, and not all of them actually even bother sending or counting to you anyway. And it's so minimal, and I think that's a nice.
There's no promotion.
No, there's nothing. They don't do the recording anymore. They don't do the promotion really. They use the DJs. The DJs are the ones that are actually out being the marketers. They're marketing the tracks.
Social media profile. You are the promoter. You are the label.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very difficult sea to swim in.
Right.
I don't want to spend every waking hour doing things for the gram. You know, that's not who I am.
Yeah.
And I think that if the label are taking a cut, then they have a responsibility to put the work in to do it. Everything's digital. They don't have to make records. They don't have to literally do anything. So
Yeah.
in terms of the industry itself, I'm not sure what use it has in a modern age.
I don't think, again, apart from the fact that they've got hype and clout because they've obviously got that reputation. But I think you're right. I don't think they're really necessary now, because you can actually go and do it all yourself.
I'm past that. I'm at this stage of where I am that I'm not interested, as I say, of spending 7 on Instagram or TikTok or whatever.
Right.
But younger artists coming through, it's a very natural resource for them.
Sure.
And they're used to doing it and capable of doing it and want to do it. So in that sense, then you create your own standards in the industry, because you are the industry. You're putting out your content.
Mhm.
You're collecting. There is no middleman. You are the person who's doing
Right.
that. You're promoting your gigs. And I think that's probably where the future of the industry, the shelf life of labels is probably not long outside of your, your Sonys and your,
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I know what you mean, and you're right. Absolutely right.
Yeah. So what realistic steps do you think could be taken to change the standards for vocalists?
I don't know, because I don't think the industry cares.
That's sad.
I don't think the industry are interested in changing standards for vocalists. I don't think that's a thing. I don't. It's unfortunate, but they're not our parents. They're not our friends. They're not. There's no real invested interest in making things any easier or doing anything to regulate. In terms of where labels are coming from, it's a waste of their time, I think they feel, because it's back in the day when you released a track and you had like a 6-week window. Now it's track. It's just so disposable now. So
Right.
Music lasts a day before something else is out. There's no actual shelf life. So I don't know that the industry is interested in making things easier for artists, be it vocalists or musicians in general.
Mm-hmm.
That's not their remit. They're not a label that nurtures an artist through 3 albums.
Right.
Hear what happens. That's not the industry that we have anymore, unfortunately. So
It's so sad, isn't it? Because it used to be great when you got signed to a label and they were all kind of like over you and round you and saying, hey, how can we do this? And it was a big team event.
Yeah, well, when we were at 4AD, we went into B23. It was like incredible artists with the art department. You have, tours putting together. It was very much everyone was rooting for it, because the label had a vested interest in the artists.
Yeah.
Right.
They had invested financially, time-wise. They put an awful lot into this, and they needed to see a return. So they were the ones that were changing industry standards and making things happen. It's not like that anymore. So
it's so sad.
Unfortunately. But if you're prepared to go out and do it yourself, I think that's where it's going to be. That is where it is. And make your own differences, make your own changes, because nobody's going to do it for you.
I think it's a sad state of affairs, and I wish that more labels would try and understand that. Well, and this is just my opinion, that as vocalists, we and not all vocalists, obviously I'm not saying this happens to every vocalist, but we just often get put on the sidelines. Yeah.
But there will there'll always be outliers. There'll always be people who are, who make it and are actually making a living from doing it. But in dance music, they're few and far between. They really are. It's not, even in any other genre where there are a myriad of rock artists or jazz or, it's blossoming continually. But you can count on your hands, your 2 hands, the number of people who are actually touring and releasing albums.
Very true.
Well, there's loads of DJs touring.
Yeah.
I'm back to this. We need some really amazing promoter out there to just have the courage to step forward and say, hey, let's do vocalist tours.
I think it would be a great idea. But if you're not a big enough draw, they don't see the point. They can get the DJ to play the song. We don't need you to be there, so it's not, there's no incentive from them in terms of,
That's so sad, because you could listen to this song on the radio,
well,
but wouldn't it be lovely to have the actual artist right there singing to you rather than...
I always thought it did happen, I suppose, again, because I'm out of the scene. I was quite lucky that I got to gig quite a lot. But a lot of that was at the same time down to who I was working with at the time and how big the track was at the time.
Yeah.
That was part of the reason why it made sense for if John O'Callaghan was playing in Singapore and Big Sky had come out relatively recently, then that made sense.
Right.
Does it make sense now? I don't know if it does so much, or so I think it depends on how big the track is.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So
Well,
what do you think of nuances for?
I'm putting it up there on my vision board anyway. So your music, really inspires fans. How do you connect with your audience through your music, and what message would you hope to convey to them, do you think?
It's always really difficult, because when you're writing a song, like we were saying earlier, you have no idea how it's going to be received. So all I can do is put it out there. People are very good at telling me how it's made them feel, or how it's.
Oh, I love that.
So I spend a lot of time talking and messaging to fans. So I'm always very active on Messenger. I always reply. I always respond to people, because some people have, like I was saying about tattoos, or have gone through particularly hard things in their life where my music has connected with them. And for me, that's a privilege, and to have been part of that journey. And I always make a point of acknowledging that. There are songs that mean an awful lot to me, that I would be grateful to be able to reach out to, to the person who wrote them and tell them, your song got me through this particular time in my life.
Yeah.
My songs, I think they connect as well, because a lot of the time they're not stories, they're feelings, they're emotions. So I don't sit, I don't sit with a pen and go, I'm going to write about this.
Right.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah, so that doesn't happen. So I usually start with, I sing nonsense until a melody forms, and then words will form themselves, and then an idea will formulate, and then a word, and then that word will be a springboard for something else, and then it becomes a whole. It's not planned, it's not formulated, it is what it is. And I think because in that sense it is written purely through emotion and sound, it will always resonate with someone, and if it does, then my job's done.
That's so, when you said that about your kind of process for writing, we were talking to Kate Smith quite recently, and she said exactly the same thing. And we were all going, I wonder if this is a thing.
Jess said it as well. So it is a thing. For me, it's the same. It's the same process. I don't sit down and be like, oh, I'm gonna write about this. It's just happened. Yeah.
But I think I got a lot of it from Elizabeth Fraser from the Cocktail Twins, because there are no words there. She didn't then elaborate and actually make a coherent sentence. It's all sound. It's just sound, and different tones and different it's beautiful. But because there are no words, I take something that's personal to me from it, because I'm not being told words. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I love that. So who's in your bucket list to work with?
I actually don't have one. It would be like, I'd love to sing with Tremonti. I'd love to sing with Mark Tremonti. I'd love to do a duet with a rock artist. Brian Molko from Placebo. Right. I'd love to do something with Brian. In the dance end of things, no. I've been because I've been so lucky that I've got to work with some of the biggest names in the business, but I don't listen to a lot of it. Right. I don't even know what's going on in a lot of the scene, because that's not what I listen to when I'm in the car. It's not what I listen to, at any other time. I listen to what I'm involved in. So no, nobody.
Apart from Placebo, If
See
anyone,
what
if,
you know. If you're listening.
if they're listening, hello.
Alter Bridge, those kind of people.
So we all went through a crazy time in the pandemic, especially in Ireland. It was such extreme lockdown here, and I know it was pretty similar in the Northern Ireland as well. Am I correct?
Yep.
So
Not as harsh as you guys. We were
yeah, it was very harsh.
2
Yeah.
kilometers and the 5 kilometer rule. We didn't have that.
Yeah, I was not allowed to move within two. Yeah, like what was it? Just like around my house, basically. I didn't see people for nearly a year, to be honest. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, what was your creative? Like, did you do anything creative during that time?
I suppose part of it was Neil and me starting to write songs again together because the studio was shut down. We weren't allowed to have bands in the studio, so we had to do that. So that's where that idea was born. But no, I think everyone was just trying to get on with what they were doing. My bike was my absolute savior. My bike was, they closed all the parks, they closed all the forests.
Yeah.
They closed the forests.
So what did you do,
I
Audrey?
started riding the roads again because there was no traffic. It was brilliant.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one was going anywhere, so it was like riding on closed roads. So we were able to go out and being able to do that. It was more things like, do you remember how good the weather was?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was the savior. Seriously. Yeah.
Lots of did a lot of gardening, got a lot of things tidied up and paint, just got stuck in with things. But yeah, it was insane, absolutely insane. But,
Yeah.
because Neil got sent home, he was working abroad as a cycling guide. He was taking people up homes in Europe, and then boom, home. And then boom, so it was difficult. It was difficult, but that's how I say without my bike, I don't know what would have done.
Yeah.
Well, we got through it.
Yeah, we did indeed. All right. Thanks for sharing that.
So you just recently opened a merch store selling your merch.
I did.
So now, tell us. Show us.
Show us the good stuff. Oh yeah, we're fancy.
I love
Okay,
it.
So
Love it.
So
Very
yeah.
cool.
So that goes back to the tattoos again. People, so like I say, like on a weekly basis, I get sent someone has tattooed something on their arm or their leg, or and then people started asking me to handwrite the lyrics.
Oh, I love that.
The lyrics that they had on their body were in my handwriting. So I was doing quite a bit of that, and then I thought, tattooing's a bit extreme for a lot of people.
Yeah. It sure is.
It's a big commitment. And I thought, is there a way that people can carry lyrics that mean something to them without going to that absolute extreme? And then I had a bad 18 months. I lost my mum 18 months ago.
Oh,
I'm sorry to hear that.
So that was a hard time. But
Yeah.
I'm not a very spiritual person, but all of a sudden white feathers started to appear.
Oh wow.
I heard of that's some that's like little, what do you call it? That somebody's with you, a sign or something.
Yeah, it's a sign that someone who's passed on is with you, looking out for you, looking after you.
Oh, Audrey, that sounds lovely.
Particularly hard, difficult times or struggling to kind of cope with things, cope with just things in general, because there's nothing can prepare you for the loss of your mother. Nothing.
No.
Yeah.
So I wanted to incorporate the white feather as
I love that.
a symbol of hope, a symbol of you're not alone.
Yeah.
And that I'm offering this white feather to everyone, that you have a white feather, and you have a white feather with you all the time.
No.
It's beautiful.
That is so amazing.
I love that.
So it's people have really accepted. So I started with the Big Sky one, Release Yourself. It's a Big Sky, but ideally we move on to people can pick their own lyrics, the lyrics that mean something to them.
Lovely.
Yeah.
They can have a t-shirt, so I'll send all the handwriting across to the design crew, and you can have whatever you want and whatever means something to you.
Beautiful.
You don't have to get it tattooed onto your body.
But it's pretty cool with a tattoo too.
Yeah. So
I love
And
the story.
how do people get in touch with you if they want to order something from you?
if they go onto my Facebook page or Insta, the Linktree link is there, and I'll take you directly to the merch store. And we wanted to keep it really affordable as well, because stuff can be expensive. I was at the Tremonti gig in Belfast, it's 45 quid for a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought that was, I didn't buy one because I'm too tight, you know. I just
Yeah.
45 quid for a t-shirt. So that was kind of part of what was in my mind as well.
Wanted it to be affordable. Yeah.
Affordable
I love that.
and good quality as well. And the t-shirts are really good quality, I have to say.
Nice.
There you go. Listen
reading for
to Audrey.
Get a white feather in
Get
your
white-
life.
Get a white feather.
Yeah, I love
great.
that story. And
It's a great
I'm so
story.
sorry to hear about your mom.
Yeah.
That's horrific. Nobody should go through that, but we are all sadly going through that process one day.
Yeah, it's the order of things. But I was very lucky to have had her. She gave me my voice. As a result of her singing to me and teaching me.
Oh,
I'm forever grateful. And I was a lot longer than a lot of people have their mothers. So, you know.
What was her name?
Bernadette
Bernadette.
Gallagher. Bernie too.
Bernie.
Bernie, I love that.
She was great. She was a lady, an absolute lady. She was a genuinely good person. So
Yeah.
loved and missed, but lucky to have had.
Yeah. It's great. No, I love that you have put that in your merch and everything. That's very sentimental, I'd say.
It keep her memory alive as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And she would
Love
love
it.
it. She would love it.
Yeah. All right. So finally, what can we expect from you in the future?
Who knows? I'm working on the stuff with Neil at the minute, so that's all swimmingly. It's really good. Again, it's just so good to go back to that loud guitars and big drums and big bass. So we'll see what that. It could go live. It could get
Amazing.
or we could move in a completely different direction. I have a track on Tidy's new album.
Ooh,
That's great.
So he's like just an absolute darling to work with.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
I have, what else have I got on the go? I might have another couple of tracks on his album. We're kind of working on them at the minute. And some stuff down the line with two guys called Summer Love.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have a track with them coming out. I think that's kind of August time. Another one, I'm writing another track with Kieran McCauley.
Ooh,
That's awesome.
we love Kieran.
Yeah,
we
we
just
love
had him
Kieran.
on as well. So
Yeah.
Absolute gentleman. So I have a gig coming up with Kieran in Belfast here in June.
Ooh.
It keeps changing because he keeps getting gigs in Australia and wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He keeps shifting it, so that's always good to do. Kieran is so easy to work with,
Yeah.
So yeah, there'll be more of that. I just take things as they come. If it's something I want to work on, I'll do it. If not, I'll just let it slide on. I don't, I suppose, have the pressure that I maybe had 10 years ago to do something else. To
Right.
constantly do things.
Yeah.
I don't feel that pressure anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a lovely place to be in.
Yeah, it's great. First time I've ever been in it. I'm staying in it. It's what you're doing, girls. It really is. It's fantastic. It's a great format, and it's like no one talks to vocalists.
Right.
Right. right?
No one talks to vocalists.
Exactly. Yeah.
No one interviews vocalists. No one really cares, or
Nobody really cares. Yeah.
they don't know where to find it. So what you're doing is amazing, and to be able for vocalists to be able to talk about what we do, and these are our experiences, and this is what it's really like.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks we're all like minted. Loaded, you know, living
Exactly.
houses.
You're like, oh, you're so rich. I'm like, no, I'm super poor.
No, it's crazy. When we were doing like VSA and stuff like that, you were such a powerhouse and you were supporting us, and you know, you really got what was going on at the time, you know. And the irony is, I definitely see more vocalists using and
yeah,
rather than featuring.
yes,
Right. and that's a beautiful thing. But I really want to see more vocalists having the courage to say, I really would like paid for that, because nothing's coming in from those mechanical rights and you know, any of the sales. Nothing is coming in.
Nothing. Yeah.
And
even taking things like Linnea, you had highlighted it. I mean, I had no control. Someone else had my Spotify page. For example, I had no idea that there was a Spotify page out only when I went to set one up, but there is one there, but it's not mine. It's not set up by me. So any revenue from that Spotify page,
wow,
me,
That's
that has
crazy.
since been rectified. And I have noticed my last royalty statements have gone up considerably now that the Spotify page is under my control. The next thing is to take the YouTube page under my control. I don't have control of that either, because I'm not as au fait as a lot of other people are with social media and all the things that are available. I didn't realize any of this. It was a guy that's working with Neil here in the studio on his social media spotted it and went,
Wow.
You know that you have a Spotify and you have YouTube, and neither of them are controlled by you. So he has helped a lot to get that under my control. And these are revenue streams the vocalists are entitled to and possibly don't know are out there.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something worth looking into. I'm at least aware of it now where I wasn't before.
Yeah, and I think that's a really valuable tip, actually, because most vocalists, and I'm talking about not necessarily ones who have been you know, in the scene for a while, but young vocalists, they don't understand that there are multiple revenue streams that they can tap into. They don't know what societies to join, for example. And I don't know whether you know this, but are you registered with Sound Exchange in America?
I don't think so.
Right. Well, did you not?
For me in America.
Right. Well, it might be worth you looking into, because, and again, a lot of there's been a few big vocalists, you know, like yourself, who just had no idea of this. They went then and signed up to Sound Exchange, and all of a sudden there was a ton of money sitting there, and it'd been sitting there for them. And I mean, I did that when I came over here, and I said, well, I can't join you guys because I'm British, right? And they said, no, of course you can. Next thing, I've got a few $1,000s came to me.
Really?
So sign up with, so there you go, tip, sign up with Sound Exchange.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely one for me to look into, because these are all societies where like Spotify, like PPL, like MCP, all the money is actually collected.
Right.
It just needs distributed. But if you're not aware that it exists, how do you get it distributed to yourself?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That we really need to bring it into more forward in the public domain as far as
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So where can people find your music, what you're doing? Where can they follow you?
On all my socials, my Insta, my Facebook. I hate social media, sorry. Living life. But on my in my bio on Facebook, you can go straight to the link tree, and that'll take you into Spotify, it'll take you into the merch store, it'll take you into Apple Music, SoundCloud, everything. So like a one-click shop. So
all right, so
brilliant.
Just search for your name and go to the link tree, and there is everything. Got it.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Audrey, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. It's been an absolute Pleasure. And it's been lovely to see your face again. It's been such a long time.
And yours. It's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to our guest, the incredible Audrey Gallagher, for taking the time to share her thoughts, insights, and personal stories with us. And we hope that our listeners have enjoyed this episode as much as we have. Be sure to follow Audrey on her social media platforms to stay up to date with her latest music releases and up-and-coming projects. Until next time, keep the love for vocals alive and keep spreading the music.
Running through red lights, speeding through stop signs, turning around to see the city fading into gray. We are not by ourselves, out of the dark silence. Million voices, voices. Take